Johnny Drama called and booked a tee time. Turns out it wasn't Johnny Drama, it was Steph Curry. Dude, Steph Curry is on the first tee box. I was like, what are you talking about? How do we not know this? He's like, he called in as Johnny Drama earlier in the day. They're playing the Suns the next day.
All right, we are back for another episode of Under the Number. Today, I'm on site at Grass Clippings Rolling Hills out in Tempe, Arizona, joined by Pete Wilson, the co-founder of Grass League. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for coming out here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate being hosted on site. We got the pro shop right behind us.
Yeah, and this is the green room. This is kind of the think tank. You got all the memorabilia on the walls, the performing artists that have played. Just this is kind of home base for everything.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
We were talking off camera. How does all of this massive operation going to the apparel brand to, of course, the Grass League itself, to this facility, how does it tie back to a small golf tournament in Minnesota?
Well, it ties back to a small golf tournament in Minnesota for me personally. There's 4 of us founders, and everyone has their own connection to the game and connection to kind of this idea. But for me, I grew up in Minnesota in the summers, and there's just this one golf tournament called the Resorters that's in a town of 12,000. It's probably bigger now because of the tournament. 14,000 people. It's where Tom Lehman grew up, and it's where golf shuts down for a week. It's amateur golf. It's like the purest form of golf. People fly in from all over the country to play in this tournament. And then there's this weird feeling of like Texas high school football, where there's nothing more important in town than that golf tournament. And it brings out all these families. And if you have if you're good enough to win the tournament, and yet, in fact you do, it's an honor that lives with you forever. And that was one of the things that I was very ambitious, or not ambitious, but very adamant about wanting to kind of bring back to Arizona, that feeling, because here we have the Waste Management Open, and then from there it kind of just tapers off, and it's like, your member guest tournaments and your hit and giggles and this and that, and there's something lacking in the sense of true competition and this idea that the community cares about it and that the community comes out and rallies behind it. So that's kind of my connection to it, and in a roundabout way, now we're been on the Golf Channel, and then we're putting on tournaments here at Grass Clippings Rolling Hills under the lights. So it's been a dream come true. Never really thought it would come to this so quickly, but golf's in a good spot.
No kidding. Tell me about your co-founders and give me the flyover of the apparel, the course, the league.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's the 4 of us started this: Connor Riley, Jimmy Hazelton, Jake Hazelton, and all kind of we're all best friends, but we all kind of have differing backgrounds, skill sets, and everything that works perfectly in something like this. Jimmy, when we started this, was playing professional golf at the time. He's the best golfer of the group. There's no question about that. Connor was doing, he got funded by Shark Tank, by Mark Cuban on a coffee business. And Jake was working for a startup out of San Francisco, had just recently moved back to Arizona. We're all living together, and came up with this concept of, why is it that no one gives recognition to the greenskeepers? You know what I mean? If they don't show up to work in the morning, no one's golfing today.
Right.
And they're always kept off in like the distance as these like mythical creatures where it's like, hey, don't look at them, don't talk to them, and all this stuff. And we're like, some of the most interesting people on a golf course are the greenskeepers. Right. If we're going to want to go have a beer with somebody, it's like, I'd rather, no offense to anybody else in like, the pro shop around here, I think I probably want to go meet up with Scotty over at the maintenance yard and swap stories.
Right.
And so that led us to creating a clothing brand called Grass Clippings. And in tandem with that, we were like, kind of drawing on from the Resorters is let's create a tournament. We're all competitors. Jimmy might be the best, but Connor, Jake, and I were like, hey, let's play for money today. We'll get you, and that's why we keep them sharp. But so we created a tournament called the Grass Clippings Open a long time ago.
How long?
2019 was the first one.
Okay.
And we all sat around. I mean, I remember we're all living in Jimmy's room, and we sat around. We're like, this tournament's going to start out as this, but in X amount of years, it might be 5, might be 50. We're going to be playing on televisions. There'll be grandstands. We're going to be playing under the lights. I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. Extremely ambitious when you don't even have a course agreed to do the tournament on.
Yeah.
But I think that spirit is kind of has never left us, and that's why we're at the point we're at now. And it's always funny because people are like, do you ever sit back and be like, wow, how did you guys get to this point? I'm like, there's no time amongst the 4 of us. We're always, I always love this comment where we had a great tournament in December, the GL Championship, and we all huddle up with our commissioner and all our employees and everything. And, we're going to do a debrief. And we're all just kind of on cloud 9, great tournament, went successful. And Jake, our CEO, who's one of our co-founders, is like, trash cans. Next time we need more trash cans and we need a trash can over there. And I just lose it. I'm like, I love you, Jake. I was like, this is the grass league. Like, still just in the game. Like, we never step out of it, which our wives probably wish we would a little bit more. But, there's no time to focus on where we've been because we have big plans for the future.
I mean, the whole thing sounds like a late night conversation that every set of male roommates has had at one point in their life.
Yeah.
Coming back from the bars, maybe at a fraternity house, like, it'd be really sick if we set up this golf league and had our own course and played golf under the lights, and never gets off the ground. Never gets past the next day of maybe ruminating on the idea. How did you guys get just the 0 to 1? What was the first, what? There's one signal here or one opportunity where we think if we do this as a step one, we might actually get this ball rolling.
Well, I would say it probably was just making the first t-shirt. You know what I mean? Because everything kind of happened in sequence after that. Whereas we make the first t-shirt. It's like, okay, we put our flag on the ground. Now we're a clothing company. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shoot, okay. Didn't know I signed up for this. Here we go. You know what I mean? It's like, and then we do the golf tournament. And then as things progress, we're doing this golf tournament at a par 3 course, 2-man scramble, no strokes. And people are coming up to us being like, this is the greatest tournament I've ever played in. And we're like, holy smokes. And again, we talked about this off camera, is like, when you think about it, par 3 golf, 2-man scramble, 2-person scramble, because women can play as well, is like this like cheat code. It's like, it's an unlock. It's like you and I, it's like, let's go tee it up right now. Let's go play John Rahm and Ian Poulter. Just throw out some professional golfers. We'll give them a run for their money. It's like a pitching wedge off 1, 2 putts at it, 2 looks at it. You start to break it down, then everyone thinks they have a chance. Whereas if you and I were going to play a scramble or not a scramble up at like Silverleaf, okay, play from the tips, and we're going to play John Rahm, we're going to need 20 strokes. And the moment a competitor like myself, like yourself, I mean, you played quarterback at Stanford, the moment you're giving strokes and you're telling the guy on the first tee that he's that much better than you, it's like, what are we doing? No one wants to watch that. And so we've always stuck to the core of competition. But to answer your question, we do the tournament at this course. We have a conversation where it's like, we're kind of going to need to move out of this venue. Like, we should go looking for another venue, which sounds crazy. Sounds like another late night conversation, but I guess we're just kind of built different in the way it's like, if we say something, like, anything's possible if you just put your mind to it. I mean, it sounds cliche, but like let's go find a golf course. It's like, well, what happens when this question? We'll figure it out when we get there. And we've never lost that feeling, or that attribute as a team. So we went out looking for a golf course after our second golf tournament that we had thrown. And fast forward, 3 years, or it took us 2.5, 3 years working with the city of Tempe, and then voila, we're at Grass Louise Rolling Hill.
And we're sitting here. I was staying at a hotel right across from Arizona State University. Yep. And it was about an 8-minute drive here. I couldn't believe the location that you guys have. Yeah. How in the world was this property not claimed?
Well, it was claimed by the federal government. That's the crazy part, is because it's deed restricted by federal Congress to remain recreational forever. You got to call, every developer, everybody in real estate has come to this property, come to the city of Tempe and said, hey, let me turn this into a warehousing district or a office complex or apartments. And every time they're like, guys, you're going to have to call Congress if you want to do any of that. That's got to remain recreational. So most developers just turn around and they're like, okay, we're, greener pastures elsewhere. So we had driven by the property, and, it was lacking a little bit of love. It was run by the city. And they got plenty on their plate. And if you look at the history of golf courses in Tempe, they've been declining. They've been repurposing. They just got rid of the old ASU golf course. So this is the third. There's 3 courses left in Tempe. So we approached the city and said, we feel like it's a perfect union, and we feel a duty to come in here and spark some love into it and create not a new idea, but just putting lights up, putting a new restaurant in, an event lawn, an outdoor bar, a new pro shop, a new driving range with all the bells and whistles to really, engage with the community and attract the people that you're trying to attract to come out here. So that was, kind of a weird diamond in the rough story. No one really kind of like thought about it from pitching the city about a golf course. It's like everyone come in there with other ideas, and we're like, no, what you have is perfect. We just want to put little bells and whistles on it and attract the community, and that's how we got lucky. But to your point, we are dead center in the heart of Phoenix. The airport's 5 minutes. ASU, I think 8 minutes. You must have hit some traffic, because
I did.
You could see inside the stadium on 17 green into the football stadium. So because of that, we've had a lot of interesting people just show up to play. Like, it's wild. People come to play night golf because night golf is a novelty, and then the accessibility from the location make this kind of just a perfect spot for people of all walks of life that come through here. And yeah, the first, like a couple weeks after we put the lights up back in 24, Johnny Drama called and booked a tee time. Turns out it wasn't Johnny Drama, it was Steph Curry. And our head pro now, Mikey Rebate, calls me. He's like, and his favorite person is Steph Curry. He's like, dude, Steph Curry is on the first tee box. I was like, what are you talking about? How do we not know this? He's like, he called in as Johnny Drama earlier in the day. They're playing the Suns the next day. And so we get a lot of that. A lot of baseball players, spring training, I went to the D-backs game the other day. Derek Skubal was pitching for the Tigers. He plays out here all the time. Beat our Armstrong Pro. It's just it's a really unique location. I'll say that much.
Well, and it's such a fun setup. It's like any red-blooded American should have some fun out here.
Exactly. Like I said, last tee time is 10:50 p.m. So we definitely have the longest tee sheet in the state of Arizona.
I wonder how frequently he uses Johnny Drama as his cover.
Yeah, seriously. Put the word out. You know what I mean?
You're going to have every pro shop on high alert now when they pick up the phone.
100%. Everyone around here is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you kind of downplayed it where you said, well, we're talking to the city and saying, hey, we're just going to throw a couple bells and whistles onto this course. It's not bells and whistles. You guys have serious partnerships, and you've clearly been very strategic where it's like Troon is the management company of the property, and you guys are leasing from the city, and then you're very strategic. You have your merch in this beautiful pro shop. I love how it all fits together like a puzzle.
Yep.
How did you guys think through that? And where, I wonder this in the entrepreneurial, startup grind, when you get to the point from we're brute forcing this all on our own.
Yep.
To we're legit enough. We understand what this is well enough to then go to the serious people in this world and say, hey, we know that we need a hand from you and we can add value from our side as well. When did that tilt happen where you said, you know what, let's call up Troon, let's work with these serious people and see what can come out of it?
Well, I think you can agree with this. You always learn stuff from people as you go in life. And I think before we even started this, Jimmy and Jake's dad has always said to us, he's part of the team here and stuff. He comes from a development background, and without him, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. He's helped immensely, but he's always said, we know what we know and we know what we don't know. And that's pretty simple, but it's pretty profound in the sense. It's don't try to act like you know everything, and don't go into certain rooms. You'll get laughed out and it'll ruin an opportunity. So we have always approached it where it's hey, we know this, we know golf, we know this is needed. These other ancillary parts are not our expertise. Let's bring the people in and then treat them like family and empower them to go be the best at that part of the system. And we've done that since day one, literally since day one. So I think that's always been our approach, and we've been lucky enough to come around the Troons and the city of Tempe and our various partners with the Grass League, with sponsors and this and that. And we really look at this like a community from not only the golfers and the people that show up, but also our partners and everything. It's really a family feeling around here, and I feel like a lot of golf courses lack that. There's a lot of cookie cutter stuff where you show up, it feels like it's just a chain hotel where you're just clocking in, clocking out. But here it's a lot different, especially when a lot of people that are working on the golf course go home at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. You gotta treat it a little bit differently. But the partners we have, we're so fortunate to do that, and the mentality is always don't try to act like you know everything. You're gonna find out real quick that life is not forgiving to people that act like that. So
that's the way to do it. Tell me about the Grass League as it stands today. For somebody who's never heard of it, how does the Grass League work and what is it? Before we can go back to the origins of how it came to be, but as it stands today.
As it stands today, it's the first of its kind. It's a lighted par 3 golf league. Pros and amateurs can play. And instead of your typical golf tournaments and structures of let's say the PGA Tour or anything like that, your typical tours or USGA events, it's broken into 11 franchises. And everyone's going to draw the comparisons to Live Tour. Is that what? No, it's a little bit different because we've structured it in an authentic way. It's we've sold the teams to owners, it's verifiable who owns the franchises, and a very eclectic group of owners. So there's 11 franchises owned by, the Los Angeles Roses are owned by the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball manager, Dave Roberts. Everyone knows him, and he is the face and the owner of the LA Roses. And then you have Good Golf, who is the YouTube sensation that has taken the world by storm. They own the Dallas Horsemen. Wyndham Clark, who won the U.S. Open, owns the San Diego Munis. Or we just sold our most recent one, the buzzword, for $1 million to the Las Vegas Action, or that's the franchise, but to a group called the Sports Group. and SG Ellison, Mark King, AQ Shipley, Brandon Stein, a group of guys. And the way to look at it is golf has always lacked this like team aspect. And what I mean by team is like, I hate to always reference this, but like if you go back and you watch the movie Miracle, Herb Brooks was like, I'm not looking for the best ones. I'm looking for the right ones. The ability to go out and say, this is our franchise. This is our ownership group. This is what we want our team, our roster to look like. This guy may have shot 62. He's not the best one. I'm going to take the guy shot 68 because of other reasons. Mm-hmm. And so like, it's a cool dynamic. I get chills when I think about it, like building a team of golfers that can come together to win something. So the way it works is these franchises go out before the season starts and they put 10 guys on a roster. And then and this is coming up at our Grass Clippings Open, the 22nd to the 25th. The way it works is there's a qualifier on Wednesday. There'll be 200 players, 100 teams of 2 playing all day long in a qualifier. The top 25 teams go into the Grass League draft player pool. And the following night at 7 p.m. Arizona time, we go live on our lawn. It's a huge production, the Grass League draft. We did it for the first time last year, and each franchise drafts two-person teams from the qualifier. And so then their roster expands to 14. And then the following day is the first day of the first tournament, and four of the roster teams plus the 2 drafted teams play. One sits out, so like there's like that 5th team is typically used as like as a either potentially injuries that happen or like LPGA players are allowed to play, and they have scheduling conflicts, so they'll just be on the bench, and then come December, they come out to play in the championship. Like Gabby Ruffles just won the last tournament with Ryan Ruffles. But that's like the way it's structured. The way we like to say it is, if you can make it, we'd love to have you. And what I mean by that is, a lot of golf organizations try to tell people where they can play, what they can play in, what they got to wear, and all this stuff. And it's like, again, know what you know what you don't know. I know I have no right to tell anybody what they can and cannot do on and off the golf course. So we just say, pro, amateur, that's out the window. It's par 3 golf. If you can make it, we'd love to have you. So anyone can play. Anyone from an 80-year-old man or woman down to an 18-year-old man or woman. So they all stand on the same tee boxes, play from the same boxes, but from the same locations. Nothing's different. Add them up and let the best player win. So it's true competition, and we've always leaned on the thing that has shelf life is competition. We're not going to try to manufacture stuff. We're not going to try to make things happen just to get a couple more clicks or views or anything like that. At the end of the day, competition stands the test of time. You see that with the NFL, with the NBA, with the MLB. Once you start trying to manufacture stuff, that's where it gets dicey, and that's where we're going to stay in that lane.
So the last time I was in Phoenix was for the 2022 Waste Management.
Okay.
A lot of fun.
Yep.
We're sitting here in this green room, and I'm looking at the wall behind us, and there's a giant poster of Big X the Plug. From what you were telling me, it sounds like I need to make my way out to a Grass League event. Tell me about the setup. Tell me about the vibes. Tell me about what people can expect, because it seems incredible.
Yeah, and that's the tough part to get people to explain. It's like, first off, it's like night golf on a par 3 course. Like, if you don't, that's all your mind kind of goes certain places. But there's 99 acres here. We have plenty of room to do stuff. So we set it up like a mini Waste Management Open, in the sense that we put tents along the 18th green and tee box, and then we have the whole 15. That's kind of our whole 16, where live announcer out there interacting with the fans, pouring drinks for people, and it's just loud and it's energetic. It's not your typical golf tournament. We let people know that at the beginning. This is for this is just a little different. You know what I mean? What's wrong with a little different? You know what I mean? There's plenty of golf out there. So so people pack in there. It's on national television. We have the hospitality tents. We have food vendors. It's music playing the whole time, and then we have a massive stage that sits next to the 18th green. So as the guys are finishing on 18 on national television, Big X the Plug is getting ready to come on out. And so like we had close to 8,000 people at our last event. Waiting for it the night before Midland played. So it's a mixture of elite golf with like very, very interesting golfers from all walks of life. Like the personalities are just wild, mixed in with the teams, the franchises, and the owners, like all of these different dynamics that play just from the golf side. And then when the golf ends, it's like a party, and it's these large concerts that are awesome. And it's just wild that Bryce Fine, Quinn 92, Landco, it's been Easton Corbin, Midland. It's been wild, and we're just getting started too. That's the wild part. This is technically our second season, although we did some turnips in 2024. but we have really organized this in a professional sports league manner, and we consider this season 2, and we're off and going, and we're not looking back. We just hired a new president, Michael Prindeville, who comes with a wealth of knowledge and experience to kind of really get this this train on the tracks and get us going in the right direction. So
You guys are living the dream. It's so cool.
it's a stressful dream, but yeah, I couldn't wouldn't want anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just casually mentioned in there, it's on national TV. Tell me about the media angle here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's arguably part of the biggest opportunity as media is changing and growing, and obviously what you see with YouTube golf and all of this stuff. Again, there's more of the reason, at least for myself, wanting to be on national television. It was more of like a romantic dream. It was like growing up watching the U.S. Open at 12 years old, and Johnny Miller comes on, and I'm watching the Masters with Jim Nantz, obviously, and all that stuff. It's like it's more we wanted the national television broadcast for the players. Like when there's cameras everywhere, you're going live on Golf Channel, or before that we were on NBC Peacock. Before that we were on TBS and HBO and Bleacher Report. That were in our first tournament. You get on property and it feels massive. It feels like you're walking into a Super Bowl. It feels like you're walking into a U.S. Open just because they're on site. And so, taking the business side out of it, that was always the main driver for that. Was like, if we can make these players feel like they're Tiger Woods, or they have the potential to go be Tiger Woods that night, like what? Life is short. Life is really short. If I have the opportunity to get dropped off, got a caddy carrying my bag in, and I'm about to go play in a par 3 lighted golf league, and it's on national television, like I've made it. My life is good. You know what I mean? And so it's more so about that. But in terms of like media and the opportunity there, like would be foolish not to think that there's not like a massive opportunity from the YouTube side of things, from working with the Golf Channel. It brings so many different people. I've had so many people, reach out to me, or players have got reached out to people from all over the country, be like, I didn't realize you were playing on Golf Channel Saturday night. I click it on primetime, and there you are walking down 18. Like Drew Kittleson, he's the number 1 player in our league. We call him number 1 par 3 player in the world. And he's like, the last tournament, his dad called him the next day. He was like, when were you going to tell me you were playing on national television? I just turned it on. They had it on at the bar. And I was like, that's my son. And he had no idea. And things like that. Like, that's cool. Like, that is so cool to me. And there's so many golfers like a Drew Kittleson that people want to forget about. Drew Kittleson played at Florida State with Daniel Berger, Brooks Koepka, and a few other guys. And he was the best golfer on that team for 4 years. Plays 1 year on the Korn Ferry Tour, says, I'm going to go work for the family business, quits golf entirely, just vanishes. It's like Andrew Luck, or like an Anthony Kim, like for other reasons, like just goes off, and I'd rather play at Westbrook and work here, and he's out of the spotlight. And so we, in a sense, have brought them back into the spotlight thanks to the media arm and all that stuff. But we have huge plans. Part of the reason Michael Prindeville came onto the team was for this exact reason, for the media side of things, and really making this a commercial enterprise, and working with the Golf Channel, doing our own stuff on our own YouTube channel to grow that, and really bring out the personalities in this league. Like, if you go down the list of people in our league, you're like, wait, what? Like, and sometimes when you get an eclectic group, that's more interesting than the polished, Colin Morikawa and Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler. Nothing against them, but like sometimes we want a little offbeat. You know what I mean? Right. And when you look at the laundry list of players that are playing our league, you're like, damn, this could be really interesting. And then you throw on top of it, and which was one of the main drivers, was golf is always Sundays, Saturdays during the day. Well, granted, TGL's tried to do this, but why not watch golf in prime time at night? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that hard. Just put some lights up. Call Musco Lighting at Iowa. They'll come out and they'll throw lights up, and then you have a national broadcast in prime time. Yeah. So we like to say, it's not like we're rocket scientists or anything. It's just pretty simple. And I think that's our real differentiator, is that we have the ability to broadcast at night at odd hours. Find creative spots. If it's a Tuesday night, if it's this, that, and the other, we can do matches. We can get really creative with all of this stuff going into the future. But right now we have our three tentpole events. The Grass Clippings Open, Summer Grind, and the GL Championship. And then from there, the world is our oyster. Essentially, we can go, and as long as our players are happy and want to show up, we'll continue to grow the schedule and make it bigger. But the moment you lose your players and they don't want to show up, that's when you got to rein it back in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have these built-in storylines, like you just mentioned, like from the media angle and the storytelling angle, the guy coming back into the game, getting lured back in. That's the case with a lot of sports, but with something like this, it's uniquely positioned for that. It also is, thus this setting is great for probably vertical short-form video. You obviously have the YouTube angle. You've got some technology on site. I got a plug from my old roommate, Will Johnson, CourseCast. That's kind of part of how we started talking.
Yep.
Kind of digitizing the experience here. And notably, this was at the grass league level, I realize. You guys raised some money from Creator Sports Capital.
Yes.
Brian Cabot and Ben Grubbs, two guys I've gotten to know a little bit. They notably led a big round in Good,
Yep.
who you just mentioned owns the Dallas Horsemen. This is all like, there's some serious interconnectivity here, and I know that part of the advantage that the Creator Sports Capital guys have is they're just media experts, right? I mean, big time.
Precisely.
Yeah. So talk about that round in particular. What made you decide to raise, several $1 million, and how'd you get in touch with them?
That's a long answer to that. That's, to answer your question, why we raised the money was we were kind of hit this inflection point where it was like, we have an opportunity to kind of lift off and go. But, at the time there's 4 of us, and then Michael Roush, who we hired, our first hire, is like family to us. He's been there since day one of Grass League. There's only 5 of us. You know what I mean? It's like trying to do all of these things. You're like, holy smokes, like we're all going to burn out, or, something's going to go wrong if we don't bring on help. And that's why I was like, we're going to go hire Michael Prindiville. We're going to go bring on a commissioner and Jason Pritchett. We're going to really fortify this. But what are you saying?
I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah. All of what you've said, because this round was not long ago. No. All of what you've said to this point was with 5 dudes. That is unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't want to, we have our employees at the golf course that help. Like we have team members, we have people that have helped. I don't want to sugarcoat it and make it sound like it's just the 5 of us, but a lot of the stuff falls on our backs, and between the golf course and the league and all that stuff, and there's been some wild days at the office. You know what I mean? But to that point is, we really want to take this for the players, for the game of golf. We want to create this and make this the biggest golf tournament it could be, in the most respectful way for the players. In order to do that, we're going to need some help. We're going to need some expertise, some people that have been doing this for 20, 30 years. And so went out and made some key hires, and put us in a position to where we're going to have some key initiatives coming out, and from the media side, from all different angles, to really grow this, to get as many eyeballs on this. And we got kids now saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a future grass leaguer." Some 10-year-old said that to me the other night. That's what it's all about. It's like, if we can have this league around in 100 years from now, kind of back to the resorters, it's been going on for 100. This will be the 104th year.
The tournament in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Wow.
Continuously through World War II and everything. They never took a year off, and that's something to aspire after and motivate you. Is like 100 years from now, it is our duty that the grass league still remains. So I think that raise was a key piece in kind of getting us going and fortifying us and bringing on people, like you said, from Creator Capital that have all the experience in the world about how to really navigate the sports media world right now, along with Michael Prindiville, who's brilliant in his own right. And Old Tom Capital is a part of that as well. And they sure are making noise everywhere they're going. They love the game of golf. They are great investors, and just great team members. Like the positivity, the enthusiasm around the idea it's infectious from all our new investors. And I think we're really in a great spot to really grow this in the right way. So, I mean, could not be more stoked and fired up that these guys are a part of it.
I actually want to kind of double click on Old Tom Capital.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I spend every day in this sports economy world talking and researching investors, operators, founders. And I only came across Old Tom probably 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And you're right. I'm starting to see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about them. And for people who have never heard of them, how does their model work? Because I know it's a unique one.
Yeah. I mean, it's unique in the sense that all they want to invest in is golf. And like when you pick your niche and you focus in on that, like the opportunities become endless. And I'm not I'm the media guy, so like of course in case I just screw this up, but like they have a syndication of investors from all over the world that buy into their system, and then they go out and source the deals, put them together, and I mean the most recent article is they're in the lead to buy TaylorMade, for $3 billion. So like these guys, they're not messing around, and they love the game of golf. Like it's one thing to want to invest in the game of golf because it's cool or it's hip or it's the new thing, but It's like these guys are golfers through and through, and they're looking at the right opportunities through the right lens and making great decisions. But it's very unique. I mean, you probably have other reasons why it's unique, but I just find it so remarkable that they only are focused on golf, and you can kind of see this puzzle they're kind of putting together as they're forming these investments. You're like, oh wow, well if that makes sense. Like they're very smart and thoughtful about the decisions they're making. And again, they've been they've been unbelievably helpful, and just great partners going forward. So and again, we're just getting started. This all happened just only a few months ago.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's exciting. We have a lot of runway and a lot of enthusiasm and the right people involved at this point.
And you said I'm a media guy. You actually do broadcast work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell me about what does that look like?
I mean, to be honest, I went to school for broadcast journalism. I wanted to be the next Al Michaels, and then you find out real quick you're going to end up going to somewhere middle of nowhere, Georgia, Alabama, and work for a local news radio show. And I didn't want to do that, so I went off and did a bunch of different things. But come full circle at our first event in 2024, we're getting ready for the broadcast, and everyone's like, "Hey, Pete, can you give us the lay of the land? Like, who's playing in the tournament? And like the tournament's tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay, here we go. Everyone lock in. There's 20 of us huddled around my computer." I'm like, "Okay, so if Drew gets paired with him, we're going to want to do this. We're going to want the cameras to follow this because this will lead to this storyline." And I'm like, I'm like a detective, like in some kind of like some room with all my fellow detectives.
I'm picturing the Charlie Day meme where he's
precise. That's what's going on in my mind. Yeah, and everyone's sitting there like, "Oh shoot!" And like Doug Smith, who was my co-host at the time, was like, "I'm not going on with this guy." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "None of us know half the stuff you know about any of these golfers." And to his point, it's like he just shows up at the tournament a few days before, and he's like, "There's 200 golfers here," or at the time like 288, and then it whittles down to 75. Or it's all kind of changed year to year, but that's a lot of information to digest. I lose sleep at night where I'm like, "Oh shoot, who is that guy?" Like I need to do some more research in the morning when I wake up. So long story short, Doug was like, "You got to come on the broadcast," and I was like, I'm looking around, I'm like, we've been planning this for quite a while. Like seems like a last minute decision, and sure enough, I was like, all right, well, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna a couple of demands. You're not gonna show my face, and a story for another day. But I'll not gonna use my name, Pete Wilson. And so that's how it started. And I've been on the broadcast ever since, as kind of the color guy, as the narrator when they need me.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more entertaining people, but when push comes to shove, where it's like, hey, who is this person, or what did you guys take over this golf course? I fill in and I give the context and the reasons to care, I guess. But it's good. And the broadcast team is always evolving, and we're trying to kind of find that best mix of characters. And I think we have a pretty interesting cast of characters coming out for this next one. I'm not at liberty to say yet, but it's gonna be good.
So if you're the media guy, self-described but clearly earned. Yeah. What would your co-founders say one by one? I'm the X guy.
So Jimmy would be sales and partnerships. He's the type of guy that gets in a room and for 30 minutes, and by the time he leaves, he knows everybody. He has everyone's number, and they're like, "Hey, let's play golf tomorrow." Like he's got a way about him to be able to navigate, very interesting rooms. Like the most famous people in the world are, a bunch of guys just at a dive bar. You know what I mean? So he handles sales and partnerships, which he's crushed, and continues to make great partnerships. Again, back to our partners in the league level, sponsors that we have, wouldn't have those without Jimmy. Connor is he is our like he likes to say he's our parents, or he's like our grandparents. He's like, these guys come up with crazy ideas. It's my job to make sure we don't like run off, the train doesn't go off the railroad, right, off the tracks. So he's operations, he's finance, he's our CFO. And then Jake is, our fearless leader. He's our CEO. He's the one who stands up in front of Tempe and says, "You trust us," and all this stuff. And he's the CEO. I mean, like, he makes all the big decisions. We all fall in line, and which is crazy. He's the youngest one. He's Jimmy's younger brother. But like, to give you how unique this situation is, it's like four best friends that the youngest one is the CEO. And like, there's no ego involved. We're just like, hey, we want this to work. Like, if the moment this becomes about us, then we got trouble. You know what I mean? And then Michael Roush, who we brought on, he is our it's tough to give him a title because he does so many different things, but he came on as our director of video. He's a brilliant videographer, editor, producer. He just wears a million different hats. Obviously he's like our family now, and so it's a very interesting team. And then obviously we just brought on Michael Prindeville, and we have our commissioner Jason Pritchett, who you don't want to mess with. He's a lawyer here in town. He's a Thunderbird, and everything runs through him. If there's any issues with the league, he's on it. He's on the phone, and people, when you meet him, you'll get it. Very, very a man in control, and that's what we need right now, and especially with all the new people coming in and all that stuff, stability. But I hope that's a good way to describe the dynamics of play.
No, that's good. You got to have a bulldog advocating for you somewhere in the roster. Something I'm really curious about is like what I'm working on right now. I'm solo founder. I'm doing everything by myself, as was demonstrated by my arrival, setting everything up. It's hard for me to imagine running a business with 4 co-founders. I didn't set out to do this because I needed to be a solo founder and my own boss and not work with anyone. Actually, quite the contrary. I've only played team sports growing up, and like I'm a very collaborative person. So arguably, I'm currently in kind of a unique territory for myself. It's a long way of teeing up the question, which is, what is your decision-making process? Like, I know you guys are all buddies. I know it seems like you guys are all reasonable dudes, but also to get to the point where you've gotten, there have to be some level of process in place. And tell me about like when there's a dispute and 4 co-founders and these now brought in executives, how do you guys make a decision?
Well, again, it's the reason why you have a CEO and you hear everybody out. Like, again, our relationships haven't changed much. I mean, they've changed in the sense that we're business partners and all that stuff, but like at the end of the day, we hear each other out. And again, there is no ego. So it's like, hey, Jake or Connor or Jimmy, this is how I feel. This is why we should do it. And if we don't make that decision, like I'm whatever you say, I'm going to get behind. So it's like, it's a lot of trust. Like there is a process. We go around like, hey, this is a big decision. What do you think we should do? Everyone voices their opinion. We hash it out. We talk about it, pros and cons and everything like that. And then, we get to a point where it's like, this is going to be the decision. And if you don't like it, like it's just the way life is, but you need to support your leader, your CEO, and go forward. And I think that it would be a lot like you played quarterback at Stanford. You know what I mean? Like back to us, it's like, no, as Jim Hazelton would say, he's like, know what you know and know what you don't know. It's like, I might be telling you what I think we should do, but it doesn't mean I know that's the right thing. So like, I'm just trusting that, like, I have a lot of trust in the world. Like things are going to work out. Like I've always had that. And I think we all share that. But like you're trusting that your offensive lineman is going to block for you on the blind side. You know what I mean? You're trusting that your receiver is going to run the right route, and then you're ultimately going to they're trusting you to make the right decision to where you're placing the ball. It's a lot like football, and I think we all share that. In maybe not from that analogy, but like that's where it all stems from. It's like, okay, like I'm not going to tell Jake how to throw the football. He's not going to tell me, like, he might give me advice about how I should block or look for this. But like at the end of the day, we both trust each other. We all trust each other to make the right decision in the moment for that particular topic. And I could see where it'd be really tough for 4 founders to all work together, let alone 4 friends that are founders. But I think there's something very unique about our relationships, and it comes through at the golf course level, like the way we interact with employees, or the way the community we've created. Like it's very, very unique, and I think it just goes back to there's zero ego, and the way we speak to each other is like we're still like brothers, like give each other a hard time about everything and laughing it off. And when we win, it feels like we don't celebrate, but we try to celebrate. And then when we lose, we lick our wounds, we get back to work. You know what I mean? And even when someone makes a bad decision, it's not like I'm gonna that was the like just get all over you. That was the wrong decision. It's like, no, that's part of living. That's part of working. That's just let's get better at it and show up tomorrow. So yeah, I've been asked that question a few times, and it's funny. I'm only 37 years old, so it's not like I have this like, long history of working in different environments and stuff like that. All I know is this, and we make it work. And it comes out of we all love each other, and it's not about me. It's not about any one of us. It's about the idea. It's about a greater idea. It's the grass league. It's the grass clippings. It's like we're creating something for other people. It's like plant a seed so other people can sit in the shade. I always love that saying. I mean what I mean? And so if we keep that in the back of our minds, like we trust that the right decisions will be made. But we've had some tough decisions to make. I'll tell you that much. So
well, I mean, that's rare. It's impressive, and it clearly only happens because you guys all respect each other so much. Like there's no other way that could ever work out. You mentioned you're about 10 years older than I am. I want to hear how the game of golf, the world of golf, the perception of golf has evolved, and how you've witnessed it from the time you first picked up a club as a kid to today in 2026. Obviously, growing the game and YouTube golf and things are trending in the right direction. You guys had very good timing in getting this thing going. Not to mention right before COVID. That's crazy. Yeah, I want to hear it from you. Like, how have you seen it? How have you witnessed it as someone who's been in it for, go back 30 years ago to today?
Oh man. I mean, when I was 7 years old, I was under the impression that I was going to be a professional golfer, and, just completely oblivious to the road it takes to get to become a professional golfer. Like, part of the reason we started the grass league is, watching Jimmy out of college, now going to chase his professional golf career. That's a wild thing to do. Even if you're the best player coming out of college, you're like, should I really do this? Like, imagine being the best quarterback in college football and be like, I don't know, this is kind of risky. It's like, it doesn't make sense because you got to go off and go play the Latin American tours, play in the Canadian tours, play the Corn Ferry, and life will beat you up. If you don't make a cut, you're gone. And it's like, I mean, iron sharpens iron, or diamond sharpens diamonds, whatever the saying is. But I get that. But you come to realize that, and then you get old. I got older into my teens, and I'm like, holy smokes, maybe golf isn't that. But then this whole new wave of stuff was kind of was being birthed of YouTube golf with Garrett Clark, kind of the founder of YouTube golf. And you started to see these personalities come out. And so now we're at a point in time where it's like you have competition at the top, at the pinnacle, and then you have this, this more personality-driven golf, which is great for the game. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, does it grow the game? Because everyone's sitting around watching YouTube videos all day.
They got to get out there themselves.
Yeah, we could go pick up a club.
That's a good point.
But there's now this blend of personality and competition, and then the competition is expanding with Live Tour and all that stuff. That's another conversation. But I think golf is in a really, really healthy spot. But at some point, it's like, what is going to stand the test of time? And going back to my 7-year-old self, watching Johnny Miller on the NBC broadcast with the U.S. Open's coming on, competition is competition will always remain. And like, if you think of the NFL, no one's bigger than the NFL. The NFL's shield is bigger than every player.
Yep.
They'll cut so and so tomorrow. They'll cut this guy. Like, hey, we'll be just fine. And so when you look through the lens of and to answer your question in a roundabout way, is that we truly believe competition is what stands the test of time. Because on the personality side of things, like if someone drops off a YouTube channel or does this, it's like, oh shoot, well, our whole business was kind of built around you. With here, it's like we have all these personalities coming into the league, and then we're dealing with what we got. We're making storylines with what we got, and the people that are coming in are just, I mean, it's crazy. It's like from golf accomplishments to personality to just guys you want to be around, girls you want to be around. Like, I think golf is in a really, really healthy spot, and it's changed a ton to the point that we're able to do this. Because if we would have come up with this idea, 20 years ago, people would have laughed you off the golf course.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Lights and on a par 3 course and an event lawn and concerts and all this stuff. So it's evolved in not only what you're seeing, but in people's willing to accept the change and be enthusiastic about the change. And we're just fortunate to have a small piece in it. And I always love when people are like, well, so-and-so's doing that. Why aren't you guys doing that? So-and-so's doing that. It's like, at the end of the day, what's wrong with just doing what you set out to do? And don't go chase the shiny thing. It's like, hell, if we have one tournament for the rest of our lives, we just have one tournament here, that's all we ever do, that works.
Right.
That's called the Masters. It's not like they're trying to put on a circuit or anything. They do 1 week a year and run circles around everyone. So it's like, again, stick to our competition, or stick to competition at the core, and then do things the right way. Know what you know and know what you don't know, and then if the enthusiasm and the demand is there, you keep growing around the country, and maybe we get another property here, maybe we get another property there, and we have major championships just like the old way does it. Just par 3 lighted golf, and our whole goal is to be the leader in par 3 golf. We look at it as a completely new sport. Like pickleball just popped out of nowhere. Now it's pickleball. It's pickleball to tennis or whatnot. Par 3 golf and your traditional golf, very different. And we've seen that from the players that have come out. Colton Knost has played in our last event. Riggs Johnston, who won the Australian Open before he played the Grass Clippings Open last year. I mean, he beat Cam Smith, Joaquin Neiman by like 8 strokes.
Wow. And
he comes out here, finishes 29th at the Grass Clippings Open. So it's a much different sport. When you have the ability to get up to a par 5 and rip it 300 anywhere you want, and then almost ensure that you get a birdie, that's where the separation happens between golfers. But when you narrow it down 150 yards and in, it's a different sport. Especially when the lights come on and the cameras turn on, anyone can win. Like our last Grass Clippings Open, Kurt Watkins and Jake Byram won. Kurt Watkins and Jake Byram are both insurance agents here in town. Great golfers. Jake Byram's dad's Kurt Byram, and Kurt Watkins has played golf his entire life at the highest level. So, I heard this podcast recently about all like the UFC and all the other competing UFC fighting leagues and all that stuff. And someone said, it was like, when you start a sports league, what you want to look for is a sport that has like a bevy amount of talent that is untapped. And he was like, fighting, like there's all these fighters, like, there's just a certain amount of guys that can fight at the highest level. and then all these people get forgotten. So we saw an opportunity. Thus, all this stuff grows and grows and grows. Golf, even more so. It's like you have the top 50 golfers in the world, top 100 golfers in the world, call it 200 golfers, and then you have like thousands upon thousands of golfers that have played in the Masters, that have won a college national championship, that have won on tour, have played on tour, played in the Corn Ferry, won everything, shot the course record. Like the stories go on forever, and you're like, maybe we want to create a sports league in the untapped talent pool here, and then leverage the media around it. It's like that doesn't seem too crazy to me. You know what I mean? That was kind of the idea in the first place. And yeah, one of the guys coming to play in our next tournament, John Peterson, won a individual college national championship at LSU. Probably the best LSU golfer to ever play. Had a hole-in-one at the 2012 U.S. Open. Played 8 years on tour. I mean, this guy was coming out of college, was supposed to be the next guy, and played 8 years. Like, had some great years, but just didn't become Scotty Scheffler. And now he owns his own garage door business out in Fort Worth.
No way.
Still shoots 62 every weekend at his course, and he's just like, does this guy want to just come play on TV with us? Like, and those are the people sitting around.
Yeah.
And so our next tournament's going to be wild. It's going to be really, really interesting.
So awesome. I mean, it's so innovative, it's so creative, and it's so clearly rooted in just a passion and like love for the game. There's no way to recreate that. I wouldn't be worried about, the pop-up copycats who draw a business model like this up on a whiteboard. It doesn't come from the same place when that's the, where it's trying to be grown out of. Closing question here. I could ask you, where's Grass League going in 10 years? Where is it going to be in 2040? Impossible to say. To make it a little bit more tangible,
yep. If
we are having this same conversation in April of 2027 or potentially April of 2028, what do you hope has changed, or has, what does the league look like?
I mean, I always try to just keep my feet on the ground and stay in the moment. So I struggle with these questions, but I would say, I mentioned the property, the new properties, expanded schedule. So the idea is next year, when we're sitting here in April, I hope to say that there's another property under the Grass Clippings umbrella. There's another tournament, potentially 2 tournaments, and we have another franchise sold. That's what we're going to be doing in the next 6 months to 8 months. We're looking for the right group to come in and purchase the right market and help us expand potentially into that market. We have a lot of interest from a lot of interesting groups, but we're going to have to be forced to make a decision at one point. So those number of things, and then the idea is at some point having an international event. I mean, Mexico's considered outside the country, but things are growing in Asia. The ability to get on a plane and everyone's and the Grass League moves overseas or somewhere. I doubt that's going to happen in our conversation and be able to talk about that, but that is something that's in the back of our mind. So increased events, another location, and another franchise, and a lot more, and continuing to make opportunities for the players. There's a lot of players out there that are sitting on a range in West Texas or Pennsylvania or state of Washington that are just looking for a shot. All they're doing is just banging balls, don't really have an opportunity, and they haven't been discovered yet. Our job is to go find them and bring them to the Grass League and put them on national television and tell their story. It's
exciting stuff. Well, I can't wait to find time to come out to an event here. I'll certainly be back.
Yep.
And thank you so much again for hosting me here in the green room in the clubhouse and making the time. I appreciate it.
Of course. You better come to the Grass Clippings Open.
That's right. I will.
Only a couple weeks away.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Thanks, man.